like and subscribe. What are some red flags that made you leave the relationship? She was always checking my phone if I left it laying around. I'd wake up from a nap and she would be looking through my phone. I gave her the passcode because I had nothing to hide. When I finally had enough, I asked her to show me her phone and she refused and guarded it like Fort Knox. He said to me, after having had periods of suicidal thoughts in the past, "I decided last night I couldn't kill myself unless I killed you first, so you wouldn't have to live with the guilt." That felt like a red flag. Edit. Wow. I thought this would get buried. To those that asked, yes, I left him, but as you can imagine it was complicated and took me a while to untangle the bull. I'm now happily married to the guy that helped me get away and basically saved my life. I also want to thank those that have shared their own stories of mental health struggles both with a partner and themselves. I have very little advice of any use, but I love all the support in the comments. For anyone in a similar situation, trust your gut. No relationship is worth your life. It is better to act and be wrong than not act, think everything is okay, and be wrong. If anything on this post rang true for you right now, start taking steps to protect yourself today and reach out if you need help. There are plenty of hands here to help pull you up. When we were just starting out, we ran into some unexpected financial difficulties. We had to borrow money from my parents to make rent 1 month. I was vocal about how much I hated doing it and how badly I wanted to pay them back as soon as possible. He took some of the money, bought an expensive bottle of high quality alcohol, and hid it from me. He was not working at the time. When instead of apologizing, after being caught lying, he met another girl on the internet to show me how easy it was to get another woman to talk to him if I would it. But he still expected to work things out to vertical bar. A friend of mine sat me down one day and told me she'd been smoking pot with him. He was a dealer at the time, and telling him how bad she wanted him, basically begging him for sex. He turned her down every time, but admitted he wanted to be with her and didn't think I deserved to be cheated on. He made it clear he was interested, but also that he wouldn't come between us, so it was my decision how things went. She denied it, but I dumped her shortly afterward, and she started dating him maybe a week later. He was kind of an most of the time, but I've always appreciated him giving me the heads up instead of just letting her cheat and me be none the wiser. That guy is strangely honorable for a dealer. When I was gone, she sat on my roommate's bed and told him he would be a good father to her son. She then spread her legs. Can't get much more red flaggy. Edit. Thank you for all the people wishing me well. I'm well. More well than I have ever been in my life. I hope you are all living a happy life too. A lot of people asking if I called police. I talked to one who is a family member. He basically went through the legal motions with me, and there was very little that could be done if anything. I did end up replacing everything lost over time, and I'm more happy than ever. She showed up at my job, but what is crazier is that I never told her where I worked. She had other men and refused to admit it. When I finally confronted her with incontrovertible evidence, she refused to end it. So after 32 years, I filed for divorce. They couldn't stop adopting new pets. Like 1-2 new animals a week. We lived in a 2-room flat. My ex brought home a pregnant pit bull one time. It had 5 puppies. I was not thrilled about having 6 extra dogs in the house. I went to work and had a horrible day that day. She did not at work, kept quitting every job for trivial stuff, but that is another story. Came home to 5 dead puppies in a grocery bag on the kitchen counter, and was told you need to get rid of that. Absolutely type person. He ruined every big event. He had an attitude that didn't let you enjoy anything. He would act happy and excited leading up to said event, then just ruin it. Controlling behavior. That I should wear covered clothes, so men would not look at me. It was a very hot summer and I already would wear long skirts to my ankles and tops without cleavage. One time we were eating at a cafe and some drunk dude who was sitting behind me started to talk to me. I did not even turn to him or acknowledge him, just kept eating. My ex started to fight with him and then took me by my arm to leave. On our walk back home he was screaming at me how this was all my fault. After 3 years, that was my breaking point and I left. He straight up refused to let me meet or hang out with his friends because I was not part of a cool clique. He told me to accept that he is a playboy and that he is always horny because he is a Scorpio. During high school, she accused me of getting her pregnant when I picked her up at her house in front of her family. Note that it was a blind date with someone I had never even met before. We were barely losing to the Jets in the third, and he took off all of his pads and left the stadium. Constantly accused me of cheating, or that I was going to leave her, because I was getting serious about my weight loss and health. When I moved for work, and felt my mental health returning, I thought I was happier, because I moved to a city I wanted to be in, but instead I discovered that each time she visited I wasn't happy about it. I had a pretty big breakdown after she broke up with me, but after that, the world seemed brighter, probably due to the lack of gaslighting. He was a little older than me and well known around the city, a DJ, and he loved taking me and my friends and coworkers out and entertaining us. It was a good time, and I'm the type of person that likes to include people in things they might not have a chance to do again. It was a blast. Then he started taking them out when I wasn't around and entertaining them at our place. He later referred to me as the greatest unintentional wingman he ever met in front of people I knew. Luckily at least one of my coworkers was a decent person and clued me in. The first red flag was being a DJ lol. She asked me if I had a bank account a few days in the relationship and said she wanted to link accounts, so we shared the money, and I was immediately put off by that, and on top of that she had a problem with me not wanting to be in an open relationship. Why won't you let me cheat on you with your money? Is what I read from that. Physical abuse, mental abuse, sleep deprivation, forced exercise with public weigh-ins, the list goes on. After 4 years, I was happy to leave the army. I had to bend over backwards to get the smallest amount of effort, like simple good morning, good nights, and goodbyes. As the plate smashed on the wall I was facing, I turned around and just ducked out of the way of the follow-up plate. It was right after that I questioned how far along the hot/crazy graph I was willing to go. Broke up with her and moved states. Met my future wife and we've been together 26 years and married 22. I realized I needed help and asked for it, got diagnosed with depression, and recommended to stay in one clinic because I was really at the verge of suicide. I called her, explained the situation, and told about the clinic. Her response was, and I quote, "And what will I be doing while you are there?" I noticed she wasn't my partner that moment. My ex-husband would get moody when my plans would change, or when I would come home early from a trip. I ignored it, but something wasn't right. Eventually he just started treating me like I was somehow in his way, still claiming he had been faithful. I left him. Many years later he admitted constant infidelity. It was not a shock. Sometimes you know. Even if you don't know, you know. Probably when I told them I needed them to come to couples therapy with me because I was tired of having the same arguments and I was miserable because of these issues we were having, and their response was to look me dead in the face and say I don't want to go because they'll just tell me I'm wrong and I don't want to have to change. Hit me then that they didn't actually care if I wasn't happy. Just that they were. Hard to misinterpret when they literally say it to you. We broke up 2 weeks ago. She used her religion as an excuse to get out of things she did not like, and ignored her religion when it came to things she likes. Told me I cold no to Elf on the Shelf with my daughter, yeah. It is dumb, because it is a satanic ritual, but she drinks like a fish, multiple cosmetic surgery / body modification and monthly botox, premarital sex, and so on. I don't care if someone is religious, just be consistent. She suddenly started an expensive new hobby, cyclocross, then got mad at me for showing up to her meet or race, or whatever it was to support her. She was not happy about having to introduce me to this whole new group of like 10 friends, her cyclocross team, that she was suddenly on, and had a uniform for and everything. Couple weeks later we break up, immediately she moves out. I happened to be driving by her new place one morning, I did not even know where it was GBH, but we still lived in the same city, and I recognized her dog. Lo and behold, the guy with her out front first thing in the morning, is wearing the silly cyclocross uniform. I suspect she had begun a relationship, before breaking up with me, but did not bother to confirm. She would try to one-up every single thing I told her, even just, "Hello, yeah, I'm a bit hungover today. Marvin, I'm so much more hungover than you, I drank X and X and smoked." Just stupid. "I had diarrhea this morning, it was awful." "Oh yeah. Well, I sharted my pants 37 times while peeing on the sink." Finding out I was unwittingly in a 3-way relationship as the emotional support component second man to the first man's physical component the hard way. With her it was lots of talk, cuddling, dates and playful light over the clothes touching, but never any further than that. I respected her boundaries enough to never question the issue, I just figured she needed a deeper connection first, and I'm cool with waiting however long my partner needs. Things continued on and eventually, 6 months in, she slipped up, and mentioned the man she told me was her ex was coming over after I left. She realized she slipped, and I caught it, when I questioned her about it, and so confessed that he had been doing that regularly throughout our relationship. Oh, but not to worry, because it wasn't for anything emotional, mostly *just getting drunk, and having wild primally satisfying animal instinct sex. Being a big fan of both those things, I did not appreciate the deception *to say the least. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.